It feels like the world is getting more and more chaotic, right? It's confusing. And in all that noise, we're all kind of looking for, well, a clear guide, a solid framework for how to act. So, what if I told you that one of the world's oldest philosophical traditions offers exactly that? And I'm not talking about a bunch of outdated rules. I mean a complete operating system for life. All right, let's get into it. And this whole journey, this whole system, it really kicks off with this one powerful, totally unavoidable truth from the Bhagavad Gita. To exist is to act. I mean, think about it. Just being alive means you're in motion. Even when you choose to do absolutely nothing, well, that's still an action, isn't it? It's a choice your mind makes. The second you think, I exist, boom, you're in the game. You're part of the whole cosmic machinery. There's just no sitting on the sidelines.
Okay, but that brings up the big question, doesn't it? If we're literally built to act, then why does doing things so often lead to stress and anxiety and just pain? That's the core problem right there. It's the exact question that completely freezes the great warrior Arjuna on the battlefield. And let's be honest, it's a question we all face in our own lives, probably every single day.
So our story, and really this whole philosophical system, it all begins right there, in a moment of absolute crisis. You've got Arjuna, he's about to enter this massive battle, and he's just frozen. He's completely overwhelmed by what might happen, by the consequences of what he's about to do. He literally can't move. And that's where we start. And Krishna's diagnosis of the problem is just laser focused. He tells Arjuna, look, your suffering isn't coming from the act of fighting. It's coming from your attachment to the results. It's that desperate need to control the outcome, to own what happens next. So get this. We don't suffer because we do things. We suffer because we try to grab onto and own the fruits of what we do. Now, the advice Krishna gives Arjuna, it's not just some random pep talk he pulls out of thin air. No way. It's actually drawn from this complete, super rigorous philosophical system. It's called the Prasthanatrayi, which basically means the triple foundation of wisdom. And it's a framework that's built to give us more than just feel-good inspiration. It's designed to give us solid logic and a real, practical plan. And you can see right here how all the pieces fit together so perfectly. First, you have the Upanishads. They give you the big picture, that high-level intuitive vision. That's the what. They're all about the fundamental nature of reality. Then you've got the Brahma Sutras. These provide the solid rational proof. That's the why. They use pure logic to show that the vision is actually sound. And finally, you get the Bhagavad Gita, which is the practical plan. The how. It takes that vision and that logic and applies it directly to a real-world crisis. So really, you can boil it all down to this simple mantra, right? The Upanishads give you the vision. The Brahma Sutras give you the proof. And the Gita gives you the plan. Vision, proof, plan. Put them all together, and you have this incredibly complete and coherent system for figuring out our place in the universe. All right, so let's see how this system is actually built. We're going to start with the foundation, the proof. The Brahma Sutras, they are the logical bedrock for this entire way of seeing the world. Their one central mission is to prove, using pure reason, what our true identity really is. And that true identity, it's called the Atman, or the soul. So what is it? It's defined as the eternal conscious witness. Think of it like this. It's the unchanging subject, the I that's actually experiencing life. And that I is totally separate from the temporary object of experience. Your body, your thoughts, your feelings. You're the one watching the movie, not the character on the screen. And the Brahma Sutras don't just ask you to believe this on faith. Nope, they lay out the logic. First up is the argument from consciousness. The idea is that a pile of matter, a bunch of chemicals, that can't create a knower. A camera can record a beautiful sunset, sure, but it can't feel the beauty, right? Next, there's the argument from purpose. Any complex machine, say a car, it exists for a driver, a user. Well, the body is an unbelievably complex machine, so it must exist for a user who is separate from it. That's the Atman. And finally, the argument from recognition. Your body changes, your thoughts change, everything is in flux, and yet you feel like the same you your whole life. That constant, unchanging you has to be something different from the body and mind. Okay, so if the logic is solid, and we really are this eternal, unchanging soul, then you gotta ask, why don't we feel like that most of the time? Why do we feel so temporary and fragile? Well, this brings us to the system's explanation for the central glitch in our perception. It's what we can call the illusion of identity.
This glitch has a name, Maya, and it's really important to get this. Maya isn't like a hallucination. It's way more fundamental. It's described as an ontological illusion, which is a fancy way of saying it's a power that messes with reality itself. And it does two things. First, it has the power of avarana. Think of this like a veil that it throws over the truth, hiding our real eternal nature. And then it has the power of vikshepa. This is like a projector that casts a false reality onto that veil, making us believe, oh, I'm just this body with this name and this job. And this right here shows the core mistake, the fundamental logical error that this illusion causes. It's called adhyasa, which just means superimposition. It's like we're taking the label from one box and slapping it on another. We mistakenly transfer the properties of the object, the body, onto the true subject, the soul. So the body gets hungry, and we say, I am hungry. The body is getting older, and we think, I am aging and dying. And it's this basic, fundamental mix-up that is the real root of all our fear and all our suffering. And the Gita lays out exactly how this happens, this psychological domino effect. It calls it the ladder of fall, and it's scary how it works. It all starts so innocently, just by thinking about some object, contemplating it. But that leads to attachment, and attachment quickly grows into desire and craving. Now, if that desire gets blocked, what happens? You get anger. And anger clouds your judgment, which leads straight to delusion. And that's when you lose all reason and completely forget who you truly are. See how fast that happens?
Okay, so we've got the proof of who we really are, and we understand the glitch in the system that makes us forget it. So, what do we do about it? This brings us to the solution, the actual practical steps from the Gita. This is the how-to for debugging our own perception and finally learning to act with real freedom. And it's called the path of selfless action. The Gita gives us this brilliant analogy to picture the ideal state of mind. A person with steady wisdom, they're called a sthitaprajna, is just like a tortoise. Think about it. A tortoise doesn't run away from the world. It lives right in it. But when things get chaotic, it can just pull its limbs into its shell. In the same way, this person can withdraw their senses from all the noise and distraction of the world and just remain centered and calm in their true identity as the witnessing self. So, what does this kind of person actually look like in the real world? Well, for one, they are totally stable and even-keeled, whether they're experiencing pleasure or pain, victory or defeat. They're also free from that constant nagging ego chatter of, I want this and that's mine. They act for the good of the world, not for their own personal gain. And they do their duty perfectly, not because they're proud, but because they know they're just a conduit, a channel for some bigger cosmic function. All right, so how do we get there? The actual method is called nishkama karma, which means selfless action. And it's actually pretty simple in concept. It's the practice of doing things without getting hooked on the results. You do your work, you handle your responsibilities, just because it's the right thing to do right now. Not for the promotion, not for the thank you, not for any reward. You're basically learning to act from the perspective of that calm, eternal witness, instead of the needy, anxious ego. And when you put all of these pieces together, this entire operating system for life, it actually distills down into one simple, powerful equation. The very fact that you exist means you have to act. There's no way around it. And that action, once you strip away all this selfish desire for results, is revealed to be nothing other than your duty. So existence equals action, and action equals duty. And this right here is the ultimate takeaway. In this whole framework, your duty isn't just some social contract, it's not just your job description, it's a law of metaphysics. It's as fundamental as physics. Think about a flame. A flame can't exist without giving off heat and light, right? It's just what it does. It's the natural expression of what it is. In exactly the same way, a soul that exists in this world can't help but act. Action is just the natural radiation of your being. So thinking this way, it completely reframes everything, doesn't it? That next task on your list, I don't care if it's a huge, complex project or just doing the dishes. It's not just another chore you have to get through. It's an opportunity. It's a chance for you to practice being that witness, to see the incredible, intricate machinery of the universe in motion right through your own hands. Suddenly, it's not an obligation anymore. So the only question left to ask is, how are you going to watch?